Alise and Barry, may your marriage be strong and as solid as beautiful mountains that surround us today. And may your marriage be filled with love, gratitude, peace, joy, laughter, adventures. We love you, and we're here for you as friends and family to support you through good times and bad times.
I wish you both a lifetime of joy and love. May you always be as happy the rest of your life as you are today. It's my pleasure to be here. And she's going to read from The World According to Mr. Rogers.
In the eternal scheme of things, shining moments are as brief as the twinkling of an eye. Yet such twinklings are what eternity is made of. Moments when we human beings can say, I love you, I'm proud of you, and I forgive you, and I'm grateful for you. That's what eternity is made of. Invisible, imperishable, good stuff.
When my husband and I began talking about getting married, we covered lots of topics. Who would marry us, whom to invite, what to wear, whether or not we would be able to convince our favorite Cajun band to learn Hava Nagila. Then the most important question came up. What would we say to each other to mark this commitment? What were our intentions and which words expressed them best? We read various liturgies, Buddhist and otherwise, and talked about what we liked and disliked at other people's weddings. As we read the words countless other couples had spoken to each other, I became increasingly uncomfortable. Most of the ceremonies ended with, I do. I do what? Marriage is a commitment to share love and try to stay together with this one person, right? Marriage may ask these things of us, but I couldn't promise to do them. I knew I couldn't say, I do to love. Feelings change and keep changing. As to asking him to commit to me, which me? So if you can't say yes to love, or remaining the one your partner fell in love with, what are you agreeing to when you commit to a relationship? It's just now I'm finding out what, apparently, I said yes to. I said yes to the unfolding, impenetrable arc of uncertainty. I suppose I thought that finding love was an endpoint, that some kind of search was over and I would find home. My husband and I would leap over the threshold together into whatever we imagined our ideal cottage to be and live happily ever after. But really, we stepped through a seriously crazy looking glass. No matter how hard we tried, no matter how madly in love we were, or how skillfully we planned our life together, there was complete uncertainty about what the connection would feel like from day to day. I could give all the love I had with great joy and get back a blank stare. I could wake up as my crankiest, most sullen and narcissistic self, roll over, and greet the face of unconditional acceptance. Or not. It's like the weather. You can try to read the signs and guess about atmospheric conditions, but there's no telling for sure. As far as I can see, this never changes and the relationship never, ever stabilizes. I have no idea why, but as when I'm listening to a meteorologist explain why it's going to rain, I think, who cares? I'm just trying to figure out what outfit to wear today.
The next reading is Linda Hum, and she's going to be reading Conscious Loving.
HRH, Your Royal Highness. A co-committed relationship is one in which two or more people support each other in being whole, complete individuals. The commitment is to going all the way, to letting the relationship be the catalyst for the individual to express their full potential and creativity. which Alise has done so well with this wedding. In a co-committed relationship between two people, each takes 100% responsibility for his or her life and the results each creates. There are no victims in a co-committed relationship. In fact, victimhood is impossible when both people are willing to acknowledge that they are the cause of whatever happens to them. There is no conflict because neither person plays the accusatory victim role. With the energy saved through lessened conflict, both people are free to express even more creativity. We're looking forward to so much more. Love you both.
Thank you, Linda.
Barry and Alise, look at me. Oh.
So bossy.
You both work hard and play harder. You are both curious and enthusiastic and know how to grab life and live it to the fullest. And the other ingredient that you share is a generosity of spirit that all of us here have experienced. You are generous with your time and with your efforts for others. It's that quality that I think is the most important to have a happy life together. To be able to give of yourself generously without asking for something in return. You are both two very strong and independent individuals, but you've come today to commit yourselves to one another and to share your desires and your dreams, your joys and your sorrows together and not alone. The wedding ceremony, however it is undertaken, whether you're exchanging camels or vows, is a sacred ritual that marks a transition from what was and what will be. My blessing for both of you is that you find in your marriage a safe haven from which you can grow individually and as a couple. And may you always find yourselves surrounded by the love that is here today. Barry and Alise will now exchange the vows that they have written for themselves. Can you carry both of them? Okay, babe.
All right, here you go.
Now, I know that mine are not as going to be as good as yours, okay?
I'm sure of that.
Okay. So, I, Alise Elaine Hadley, take you, the great Barry Phillips, to be my husband. I may not tell you every day that you mean the world to me, but you do. I may be wrapped up in my daily life most days, but you fill my life with beauty, fun, and love. And I may not be the first woman in your life, but I want to be the last woman that you ever loved and who loves you. I can't believe I'm crying. I'm not emotional. And I want to spend the rest of my life loving you and taking care of you. Okay. So, dear B59, I remember the first time I met you. You reluctantly came out of Patricia's kitchen, looking all tall and handsome, scared to death, in a white button-down shirt with a margarita in your hand. And we talked for hours, and I went home and I talked to my roommate about you for hours. I was sure you would call me, but alas, you never did. But thanks to Patricia's persistence, she put us back together 3 years later, and you were so nervous that we talked for hours that day and had so much in common. And to think you almost didn't call me again. But 5 days later, thanks to Scott, one of the smartest of your children, you called and you asked me out on a double date just like high school. And that was the start of the fabulous Hadley Phillips Corporation. A few years ago, we hit a low point, and it looked like the Hadley Phillips Corporation might be going out of business. But in a letter, I told you the many reasons why I loved you. And we came back together stronger and more effective than ever. And I love you even more today. And we're stronger and more effective. And here are my favorite reasons. Okay. I should have brought some Kleenex. You got some? Okay. 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 So, I love you because you and I see the world the same way. I understand you and you understand me. We are an effective team. Isn't it funny how we often have the same thoughts at the same time? You make me laugh and you keep me entertained. I love your creative, romantic side. You have wild, spontaneous, big ideas. You have unbridled enthusiasm. You're always full of surprises. And I love surprises. We are both people of action. And I love that our H&P motto is, we get shit done. And I love it when you or I get home and I hear you exclaim, hey babies, I'm home. Or, hey babies, you're home. And I know there is a crazy story, a fun idea, or a deal I can't refuse soon to follow. So I want to make these promises to you today on our wedding day. I promise to give 100% of myself every day. Some days my 100% may not be so much. Some days my get up and go has done got up and went, and I just can't give as much as I'm able. Some days I'll give you love and sweetness, and some days I'll give you shit and a hard time. But you can always rely on me to keep it real. Some days we'll argue over who's more mechanically inclined,
Yeah, we will.
and who gets to hold the power tools. And other days we'll agree and trade off on who's head of the household. Okay. I promise to always be faithful, truthful, and trustworthy. I promise to let you know when I'm mad and then immediately get over it, as I always do. I'll be mad 1 minute and then completely over it, forgotten forever. I promise to tell you about the great things you do and always be grateful for the small and large things and always say, ooh, Barry, you're the man. I am grateful you're my partner in life. I love our life together, and I also love that we have our own lives apart and that we always come back together. You don't try to control me, and I promise I won't try to control you except for one exception. I demand that you never touch my pillow when I am sleeping. So I promise to love the you that you are, when and where you are, and I won't try to change you, but I will continue to tell you the truth, not hold grudges and resentments. You know what makes me unhappy, and I trust you to change those things because you want to. And you've kept your promises about not being late and not running out of gasoline when I'm in the car. And these things are important to me, and I want to thank you for paying attention and caring about me enough to change them. I promise to haul your ass around in a wheelchair if it ever becomes necessary. And I will cheer you on in your pursuit of a healthy weight and lifestyle. I will even pick your pants up, babe, if we're walking in public and they fall down. And I promise to only laugh about it later. And I'll be on a diet if you're on a diet, just so you don't have to do it by yourself, okay? So we're in it to win it together. So I'm almost done. I promise to love you on the days when H&P stands for happy and peppy, and on the other days when H&P stands for haggard and pathetic. And I look forward to the adventures ahead of us. May our days ahead be filled with love, health, dogs, chickens, goats, and a pig. and maybe a golf cart for you, and a big truck for me, okay? We have been extremely blessed, had so much fun, and I look forward to the prosperous, fun years ahead for the Hadley Phillips Corporation. So I'll be your wife if you'll be my husband. Huh? Not yet.
My turn, Ange?
Your turn.
Well, I've been thinking about this day a lot for the past couple of weeks, and I found myself constantly reminiscing back to the time when we first started dating. And more specifically, the time when we were trying to figure out what this relationship was going to be. Was it going to be a serious one-on-one you and me thing? Was I just going to be one of your casual daters and one of your other boyfriends? And I remember being out to dinner one night, and we had ordered drinks, but not yet dinner. And you asked me, Barry, what is it you're looking for in a relationship? heavy question to ask someone on an empty stomach. But I took a sip of my martini, chomped on a breadstick, and I thought for a minute. I wanted to answer you truthfully, and I said, at least I'm looking for what everybody else in the world is looking for. I was looking for someone to love and someone to love me back. And I thought that I found that in you. And back then, I'll tell you, the one thing you didn't hear that night at the restaurant was I was looking for someone to marry. Because you know how I felt about marriage back then. I was dead set against it. I would tell anyone who came in contact with me, any single person, if you're thinking of getting married, talk to me. Day or night, and I'll call you. I'll work my best to get you out of it. But I'll tell you, spending the past decade, half a decade with you, my views on that subject have totally changed. And I can't even think of my life without you in it by my side, in a formally committed, publicly acknowledged way. So I'm so glad that you agreed to marry me when I asked you earlier this year in Cabo San Lucas, because I'm so glad to be marrying you today at Smith Fork Ranch.
Oh.
Now my vows to you, they're simple, they're honest, and they're from my heart. And I opted to memorize them. I know you didn't want me to, for fear that I might muck them up here on the big stage. But I didn't want to take the lazy, easy way out and just read them. I'll tell you, for the past week or two, I've been practicing in the morning, in the bathtub with Mr. Bubble, and in my car going to and from work. And my vows
with our masseuse.
yeah,
our
I did
masseuse
that,
too.
Sam, yeah. So, at least standing here before our family and friends, I really wish I could promise you the world, but I can't, because the world is not mine to give you. But I do promise you is my world, and all that it entails. My love, my support, my great respect for you, along with my goal, desire, and commitment to make sure we have one great life together. I wish I could promise you to be smooth sailing all along the way. But again, I cannot, because I do not control the winds nor the tides. But I promise to build you a ship that will carry you safely anywhere with sails strong enough to endure any storm. I really wish I could promise you a lifetime of riches and private jet excursions all around the world. But someday the bank vault may be empty and the citation grounded. God forbid. But I do promise you a lifetime of abundance. An abundance of my love and my support, my strength and vulnerability, and an abundance of passion, excitement, and adventure. Now, I really wish I could promise you that I'll always be as roguishly good-looking and handsome as I am today. But I know I need to work on those roguish good looks first. And I wish I could promise you that we'd be together forever. But of course I cannot, because we don't have forever. We only have the time allotted to us on this earth. And during that time, I promise you one remarkable, memorable, magical mystery ride. Lisa Lane, come to me, my sweetest friend. This is where we start again. And I wish I could promise you that I won't hurt you, but I can't, even though my best of intentions say not to. You know I'm short-tempered, I've got a sharp tongue and harsh words. Just look at the other night at the Hollywood Bowl, trying to get through that line to go see Van Morrison. I lost it. And that lady who was rubbing my back, calm down. But I promise, if that nasty, impatient attitude is ever directed at you, I will reach for you, I will hold you, I will comfort you, and ask for your forgiveness. Right after you kick my ass for talking to you in a disrespectful way. At least of all the things I can't promise you today, maybe the one thing I do promise is that I will be an effective team member. Someone you will never have to think of trading or cutting from the team. It's really easy to stand up here and recite these vows and make grandiose esoteric promises. All dressed up here in my tuxedo at our wedding here at Smith Fork Ranch, a place you and I love and hope someday to make our home. And Marley, if you're listening, buddy, the ball's in your court. But I also realize tomorrow we're going to be going to Los Angeles and returning to the routine of everyday life. And I think that you would appreciate more concrete, specific vows and promises from something you can hang your hat on. So, here goes.
Okay.
I promise not to hug the bed covers.
Okay.
I promise not to touch your pillow when you're sleeping. I promise to make the bed if I am the last one out of it. Can you tell we got bedroom issues? I promise to turn on the heat in the house when you are cold, even though I'm sure it'll be blistering hot. I promise to take the dog for a walk when I come home from work, even though I may be dog tired. Hey, Levi, come on! And I promise not to leave my water glasses lying around the house and to wash as many dishes as I can possibly stomach. I also promise to try and better adhere to the household rules. And for those of you who have not been to our downtown Los Angeles deluxe apartment in the sky, Alise has the household rules framed and prominently displayed in our kitchen. And they read as follows. There's only 5 of them and real short. Rule number 1, don't break shit. Rule number 2, don't fight over shit. Rule number 3, clean up your shit. Rule number 4, don't act like a shit. And rule number 5, the most important rule of all, don't make Alise lose her shit. I promise I'll try harder, baby.
Okay, baby.
And I promise that the most times the word shit has been used in anybody's life. But all kidding aside, I love you so, so very much. And that ain't no shit.
Yeah, there's more.
I thought we were just doing kissing part.
No, you have to do the rings.
Oh, yeah.
So Alise and Barry are now going to exchange rings. Okay. As you, Barry, place this ring on Alise's finger, please repeat after me. I give you this ring
I give you this ring
as a symbol of my commitment to you
as a symbol of my commitment to you
and to our partnership in life.
and to our partnership in life.
As it encircles your finger,
As it encircles your finger,
may it always remind you that you are surrounded
may it always remind you that you are surrounded
by my love.
by my love.
Okay. Elise, repeat after me. Barry, I give you this ring
Barry, I give you this ring
as a symbol of my commitment
as a symbol of my commitment
to you and to our partnership
to you and our partnership
in life.
in life.
As it encircles your finger,
As it encircles your finger,
may it always remind you
may it always remind you
that you are surrounded by my love.
that you are surrounded by my love.
Good. Your lives are now joined in one unbroken circle. Wherever you go, you will always return to one another in your togetherness. You're going to sign the marriage certificate.
Okay,
All right.
awesome.
And I have it in here, right? Don't I?
Yes.
To the pen. Oh my God.
No.
Do you
You
want
got
to
the
do it later?
pen.
Does anybody have a pen?
I just realized.
Sign it in blood.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Thank you, Matt.
Perfect.
Do you want to do it on the table? Or are you good here?
No, I think we're good here.
Turn it around so that they
Okay.
can holding it.
And is this black? Is this black too?
I think so.
It's purple.
Oh, it's purple. Okay, baby. You right there.
Anywhere else?
Right there and right there.
We've done it, babies.
Almost. As soon as we get the witnesses.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Angela. Yeah. Awesome. And Scotty.
So by the powers invested in me, you are now husband and wife. Elise, you may kiss your groom, and Barry, you may kiss your bride. Ladies and gentlemen, Alise and Barry.
Everyone, let's raise our glasses and toast to the loved up bride, Alise and Barry together.
We're just overwhelmed with you guys. So, and all that you've done for us, and that you truly are our flat tire friends. And that's not fat tire. It's So anyway, you guys all know from the game last night that I probably have the weirdest family, right? Everybody understand? Okay. So right before the wedding, Ariel texted me, and she said, "You know who would really love this wedding more than anybody else? Nana." And Nana passed in 2017, and my mother was a nutcase. I mean, she was the funniest little woman. We loved her, and she was a firecracker. And my mother, oh, go ahead.
If you want to know what Alise's mother was like, picture Granny on the Beverly Hills.
My mother had so so much energy, and it literally seemed like my mother, when she moved, she was like, so
Even at the end.
even at the end, that's right. So my mother absolutely loved Barry, absolutely loved him. Met him, and Barry was so thrilled that he had a mother-in-law that loved him. And
We used to eat together.
huh?
We used to eat together.
Yeah, so we'd go out to dinner, and my mother would just hang on him. She'd eat off his plate. You know, he came to me soon after he first met her, and he goes, "I think your mother just helped me out." I don't know what to think, but I think she did. And she was so affectionate, and she loved him so much. So anyway, and in honor of that, so Ariel says, "I know that we have a really weird family, but would it be too weird for me to bring Nana?" And Ariel drove by herself from Southern California. I told her it was an empowering thing for a young woman to take a road trip by herself, and she did it. Yeah.
Put Nana in
So, because of that, she also decided to bring Nana along. And so, we have Nana right here. And she would have only been wanted to be right next to Barry. And that's where she is. And I tell you, no one would have enjoyed this wedding more than Nana.
Here, here.
Yeah.
Here, here.
So let's toast to Nana. And I have to tell you, my mother loved alcohol.
As much as
She
I
loved to party, she loved to dance,
play
and
the harmonica.
she loved to play the harmonica. And so,
For me before.
yeah. Whenever I moved to California, I was very young. I was only 17 years old when I left Southern Indiana. And I was so happy to be out of there. And so and I was trying to be very sophisticated, living on my own. I had my own apartment. I had my own job. I was going to school. My mother decides to come out and visit in the big city. And I decided I'm going to take her to a nice dinner because I've never been able to take my mother to a nice dinner. We never ate out at restaurants when we grew up. Ate at McDonald's once when I was 9 years old. Never again, yes. And so I took her to this fancy restaurant in Pasadena, and my mother says, "Alise, in honor of this, I want champagne, but I don't know what to order." And I said, "Oh, Mom, I got it handled. I am so sophisticated." I said, "Whenever the waiter comes, you just tell him you want the house champagne, okay?" I had learned that somewhere. So the waiter comes, and my mother, in her sweet, innocent little way, said, "You know what? I'm going to have some champagne on the house." And you know what? I think they actually did bring her a champagne for free. Yeah. So anyway, so she would have loved to have been here. And then I also want to do a shout out to my little Debbie, because Debbie would have been the second person who would have been here. And I'm so honored that Jess and Steph and John and Virgil are here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, didn't mean to make you guys cry. But Debbie also loved Barry. And she thought he was a good match for me, and she had to judge everybody I ever dated.
As
Or
yesterday was her birthday. She was here.
Huh?
Yesterday was her birthday.
Yes, and yesterday was her birthday, and I meant to tell you guys that I did remember. So, and Debbie loved golden roses, and I tried to send her gold roses every year. And so anyway, but she's here in spirit, I know, and she would be so proud.
The funny thing is, Alise, the people that first met you, hey, you included, and Debbie, didn't like you at first, did they?
He got
Stop her.
As Adrian said, I'm a know-it-all, and I don't always make the best first impression. Okay, so. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Love at first sight.
That's right. That's right. So anyway, but Thank you so much. Every one of you being here is just so important to me. And yeah, I'm going to pass it to you, so I won't cry.
Thank you all for coming, and we have the people here that we wanted to have here, and the people we didn't want to have here aren't here. I am sorry for my parents. First of all, my dad didn't know these, but my mom did, and I mean, she loved you. My mom absolutely loved you. We went back to Boston when I should have been studying for the bar, and we went back to see James Taylor. And we stopped in to see my mother, and we had sandwiches, and she wouldn't even eat. I'm just so happy to look at you. No, I'm kidding. I want to eat. I want to eat. I came from a great family. You know, I didn't, at least had a tough family. I did not. I had a great family. I had great parents. They were hardworking. My dad was Italian. And the best story I can tell you about my dad, I came home from college after my first semester. And I thought, I'm a college boy now. I don't have to work with a truck or do any of that stuff. He let me sleep for a couple of days, and he woke me up about 6 o'clock in the morning. He says, well, let's go. Let's go where? He said, I got a truckload of windows where to hang them. I said, Pop, it's snowing, and it's snowing hard. He said, do you like to eat when it snows? I said, let's go. That was how he processed the world. And he would have loved Elise, because that's how Elise processed the world. And I'm just so glad that everyone's here. I'm so glad that Elise and I are together. And, you know, what else can I say?
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.